the second coming of our Savior Jesus Christ. We do not know the day or the hour of his coming.
Travis Wayne Goodsell, church news time, because it's the day after conference, and so it's pretty much conference remembrance for the rest of the week for the most part. We'll still check, see if there's any cute little girl photos in pink before pretty flowers, sister missionaries, but otherwise, this is what they're posting about General Conference over the weekend. It needs to be understood that the name of the church, the full name of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This means, as they confirm, is that we are an apocalyptic religion. We are waiting for the coming of literal history non-Trinitarian Jesus Christ. This is the supposed focus of this religion. Anything else, and it would contradict the name. The top story, President Nelson announces 15 new temples at April 2025 General Conference. Now, yes, in his talk, he did say that frequent temple attendance, I don't know if I'm going to be able to quote it right, but is connected with the second coming of Jesus. Whether prepare yourself for the coming of Jesus, something like that. But then you'd have to ask yourself, okay, well, how? How is my going to the temple frequently going to prepare me for the second coming of Jesus? You've then got to ask yourself, well, what is the second coming of Jesus before you can answer that? The second coming of Jesus is that Jesus is going to come in his full glory from outer space, without a spacesuit, without a spaceship, without a flying white horse. They give you videos showing Jesus doing this. They tell us this. I am not making anything up here. If you're a Mormon and you didn't know this, what are you doing in the church? Are you just a lazy learner and a lax disciple? In name only? And so, already we have logical problems. You cannot introduce a fallacy argument to claim logical sound conclusion. It is impossible to do so. But we'll just ignore that for the moment. How does Jesus coming in his full glory to murder wicked and coup governments to become the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, the great high priest, ruling from Jerusalem and from Jerusalem. Jerusalem is destroyed still. There's no palace. There's no temple. Still destroyed. In fact, there's that Islamic mosque on the Jerusalem temple ruins. The Jews aren't prepared for Jesus. Wait a minute. The Jews don't even believe in Jesus. They're waiting for a different Christ. Someone who's full, real, physical, natural, following the laws of physics, following the laws of science. See where we're going here? The more we inquire and research what the church is claiming, is producing numerous problems. It's opening Pandora's box. General conference talk summaries, news and announcements. And supernatural Jesus on the cover is able to rise from the dead and defy the laws of physics. Violate science. And yet, people believe it. Over 4 billion on Earth believe it. Nobody has ever seen something not real. Nobody has ever experienced anything not real. And thus, people have had to create feelings to experience not real Jesus. Feelings is not evidence. It's what con men, criminals, and psychologists and religious leaders use to deceive people, get them to do their will, get them to pay up. It gets worse, Mormons. It gets worse. You cannot pull the religion card. You cannot enforce your false faith, dogmatic faith, with threats of violence, insults, extortion, guilt trips, pulling the religion card. The freedom of religion in the Constitution is the freedom to follow the law, not to violate it. By lying and deceiving people and stealing their money, you're violating your First Amendment right to freedom of religion. You are a criminal. You are not a religion. You are fraudulently using the cover of religion to commit crimes, and therefore you do not get First Amendment religious freedom protections. Oakes knows this. He was a former prosecutor and former Utah Supreme Court justice. It's called Under the Color of Law. And that is for government officials who claim to use their government position to commit crimes when it's not their government position to do so. And so if you've been paying attention to Trump news, he's trying to use that to say, well, I'm president, I can do whatever I want. It says so right in the Constitution. Supreme Court gave him the green card. I mean the gold card. I mean the platinum card. So obviously the church is lying to people. Anybody who claims Christianity from the first creed of Christianity created by Roman Emperor Constantine in 325 CE, 1700 years ago to this year, are lying. They are frauding you. This is why Joseph Smith in the first vision calls Christianity and that first creed all wrong, abominable, and corrupt. Verse 19. Everybody should know it, especially those who've been on missions. And so, yet, we're now on the countdown to Easter, when Dallin H. Oaks has given us 5 death threats. Jesus has failed to show for conference. Big surprise. And now, this is how they're presenting it. See what they're not talking about, and see what they're putting in its place. Finding greater love through Jesus Christ this Easter season. Well, that's a big difference from Oaks. Oaks wasn't talking about finding greater love through Jesus Christ. He's saying, look forward to Easter and the resurrection. It's literal. We have to die for, the death threat. And so the church, to reinforce this diversionary tactic of feelings rather than reality, new video focuses on Christ's greater love. Oh, it's Jesus, he's on a video. No, it's an actor who's able to do supernatural stuff because of our technology, filmmaking, magic, Hollywood magic. And so the literal history of supernatural Jesus is reinforced with Hollywood magic. Well, it must be true. I see it right there. Let's read to you from Revelation chapter 13, shall I? Let's see. 14. Chapter 13, verse 14. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Magical powers. And they are the frauds. Download the latest leader chart of general authorities and general officers. Which I think is pretty stupid the way they do it. Conference, they finally consented. Okay, fine, you can download it. You can use it for personal, family, and church. No criticism. Again, they leave out what is legal, but what they don't agree with. Just like they leave out the real physical laws of physics, science, and focus on not real supernatural Jesus. So what aren't they telling us about the temples then? Well, the stock market somewhat recovered by 2 o'clock today. Not sure what, but we'll come back to this. minus 349.26 on the Dow. So that wasn't as bad as last week, but it was softening today a little bit. But still pretty big, pretty massive. 37,965.6. It has not been that low since Trump's first term. That's what the temples are all about, in case you didn't know. Raking in the dough. Section 119. Don't debate this with me. If you are unaware of Section 119 and how it ties into how we are worthy to go to the temple, money equals worthiness in this church. This is what they're not telling you. They're purposely leaving that part out of it. And so you only find out about it in your temple recommend interview question. Do you pay a full tithe? If you say no, you are not worthy. You don't get a temple recommend. It doesn't get renewed. All of a sudden, oh, no temple recommend? Oh, you got to be released from your calling now. You can't participate in church. You're free to attend. Not the temple. Oh, you work for the church too. Oops, you're fired. Yeah, you work for the church now, you have to have a temple recommend. Everybody who works for the church are extorted. See, it's not just worthiness. Your whole life now is dependent on obeying them and paying up. You are held hostage. They've kidnapped you. They've trapped you. Your lifestyle is dependent upon your loyalty to the church. Right, Avraham Gilead? Or is it Gileadi? This is not a loving religion, which is supposed to be the one and only one law of all Jewish scripture. Even Christians know it. And so, Nelson, because I can go over general conference related games and activities to download. Those are brainwashing activities for children. See what they're doing for adults? Yeah, it starts when you're a child in this church. So that you are fully indoctrinated as a child with your parents assisting the church in doing this indoctrinating brainwashing. So that you don't get the one simple fact, wait a minute, Jesus isn't real? Because he violates the laws of physics. 4 billion people on the earth believe in not real Jesus because of their feelings. Before we get to Nelson's cover-up, confidence. Feeling or showing confidence in oneself. Self-assured. Feeling or showing certainty about something. Now that is a response to I can't really say knowledge because the church twists it to be a belief. Feeling that your beliefs are true. Feeling that your hopes are true, rather than feeling the results of the accomplishments of obtaining knowledge of something being true. It's a big difference. Maybe you have to play basketball to understand. I can explain it if you want. In junior high, I was groomed to be on the high school basketball team because of my height. And so I'd show up for practices. I really didn't want to be there, but I was sort of forced to. I would rather have played volleyball, but it didn't matter. I was still in the transition away from baseball. But nonetheless, so during practices in 8th grade, Auburndale Junior High, that's what we called it, Auburndale, same thing. We're in bondage, forced to memorize and regurgitate on tests. Stupid. Why can't I keep my textbook? Why do I have to give it back? What do you mean it's obsolete and you're buying new ones next year? You mean you lied to us this year? Why aren't you using science? Science doesn't change. What is a law today will be a law tomorrow. Oh, God. Here's the origin. Late 16th century, from French, confident, from Italian, confidente, from Latin, and Latin is the origin, not French or Italian, because Latin is the source for which branched out into both French and Italian. Who did this? Google. Confident, having full trust. And from the verb confidere, from con, expressing intensive force, and fidere, trust. And so fidelity is similar to that. Now, when somebody lies to you, and you know they're lying to you, when somebody tells you about something that can't possibly be real, and you're dumb enough to fully trust them, your life gets ruined. You get hurt. They con you. They steal from you. They hurt you. And if they're able to effectively brainwash you, you don't see that they're the cause of the mistrust. When you get hurt, when you lose your job because the church is pulling out the money from the stock market and the businesses are having to lay off employees, raise prices so that you can't afford to live, rendering you homeless because you're having to pay tithing first. This is an evil thing that the church is doing, and it is blatant and in your face. And yet, because of your spiritual witness feelings, you attack guys like me who are warning you of these con men. You hate me. You name call me. I'm now an anti-Mormon, antichrist, apostate, Korahor. I hate you. Not realizing that when you do that kind of a stunt, it's you who hates me. You're projecting. You're making a false accusation, pulling a B-man mote. And so, for conference, as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, still waiting for the second coming of Jesus, who's not possible to be real because he's supernatural, even though he has a body of flesh and bone as tangible as man, supposedly. He still defies the laws of physics. Oh no, I saw a movie where that's possible. What was it, Galaxy Quest? How do your boobs fit into your suit? Quick, let's get out of here before one of them kills Guy. Nelson's talk. It has to focus on the name of the church, the religion, apocalypse. We're all about, when is Jesus coming? When are we going to have Zion and start the millennium? Nope. Grow in confidence before the Lord. How can I do it before the Lord? Is there a different definition that he's using? Because I know porn comes from prostitute, and pro means before. Are we supposed to be prostitutes? Before definition. Let's check. Okay, we've got a number of them. During the period of time preceding a particular event or time. Grow in confidence before the Lord. Well, there's some missing words if we're going to say before the second coming of Jesus. It doesn't say that. Those words are not in there. That definition cannot work. And so, in front of someone or something. That would seem to suggest the likely scenario. Grow in confidence in the presence of the Lord. Except there's a problem with that, and in case you hadn't heard his talk and missed it, I know there was a lot of Mormons who wanted to become popular in the eyes of Mormons and get lots of views by recording Nelson's talk and then posting it as their video on their channel. YouTube didn't do anything about those copyright violations, regardless of whether the church allows it or not. See, I could have done stuff like that if I wanted to be popular. But again, such Mormons cannot be confided in. They are manipulating you to become popular in the eyes of the people. To be the first, so that everybody can come to them. Oh, you're my source for truth. So no, Jesus is not here. And so we can't grow in confidence before, in front of Jesus. He's not here, Nelson said. He didn't show. No man knows the day or the hour. He looked like he was in a lot of pain saying that. I'm sure he knew that I was going to do those videos. In advance of the time when. No, we've already concluded there are missing words for that to be the case. In preference to. Okay. Grow in confidence in preference to the Lord. Most likely. During the period of time preceding, no, already went over that. In front of, no, this is a preposition for before. In front of, in preference to, with a higher priority than. That seems to be the case. That is the definition that they are using here. And that is how it is deceptive. We are the church of Jesus Christ that they claim is real. There were many false prophets, false testifying, bearing false witness that Jesus is real, is resurrected, is coming, speaks to them. And yet, that's not what they mean here. They don't mean grow in confidence in the presence of Jesus. It's in preference of the Lord. Your top priority. That is deceptive. Because this church is about, hey, Jesus is coming. We're working hard to figure out the date from Revelation chapter 12, verses 1, 2, and 5. We know it uses astronomy. Travis is claiming that it's the 23rd of September, 2017, but Jesus didn't come then. And so grow in confidence in preference to the Lord. He's not here, so grow in confidence instead. How are you so easily deceived, Mormons? Because this explains it. For a Mormon to look at this and not go, I'm out. And for you to continue to stay in the church, to remain in bondage, to remain in the extortion threat, to go to the temple, to pay, so that you can save yourself, save your family, save your ancestors, or they're all going to burn in hell. Pay up. So that money can then be laundered into Ensign Peak Advisors and invested in the stock market, which the church is now tanking to tank the economy, to destroy the governments all around the world. and then say it's Jesus, it's the second coming. See, we now have our kingdom back. Church is true. Bleep you, Travis.